time here at Glacier Car and Dog Wash. Shout out to the owners. They're amazing products. So I know it's rare, but I was looking around this area for pay and spray. I called 5 different places. This place was the 5th place I called, and they were like, yeah, of course, bring your stuff by. We love it. So a lot of Adams polishes coming through here, so it's really cool. Now, today I'm with Mr. Ken Wilson. He's on the live all the time. Say hi, Ken.
How you doing?
So Ken is on a road trip with his wife, Alice, and they were in Utah yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday, and made their way to Colorado last night, and he has a new to you Tacoma, right?
Yes, 2020.
2020 TRD Pro. So fill in the I'm jealous comments right now. But Chris is showing you right now, it's pretty dirty from going on a road trip. So I was talking to Ken about this, and you know, generally when it comes to road trip detailing, you can kind of get away with doing a waterless wash, because when you go from one place to another, it's mainly I don't know, like dust and dirt just from like driving. But Ken decided to go off-roading, and so the car's a little bit more dirty than you expect. Where were you at?
Tocqueville Falls in Tocqueville, Utah.
Okay, yeah. And you said you were going up a trail, and it was like
Yeah, it was pretty hairy.
pretty hairy. Yeah. So yeah, Chris showed you guys, but it's when we were talking about it when he came into town this morning, or when we met up, it was like, I'm like, I could do a waterless wash, but it's a little bit too dirty to really, you know, I think you would probably be getting a little bit of micro scratches, in which makes more work later, you know. So so I figured it'd just be better to wash it. And I think like coming to a pay and spray when you're on a road trip is one of the best things to utilize, because, you know, if you're staying in a hotel, or, you know, granted, you guys stayed with your brother-in-law, but you don't always have access to a pressure washer, you know? So coming to a pay and spray actually gives you the ability to use a pressure washer, and then you can just bring a couple things along with you on the road trip, and you'll be good to go. So, so yeah. And Ken also, after this, we're actually going to go back to the shop, and I'm going to teach him some polishing and ceramic coating. So, he's going to leave here with some knowledge, which I like. That's what I'm about. So
Prep it right.
yeah. And you're on the live a lot, right?
Pretty much every Wednesday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Hopefully I'm not too annoying.
No.
So what we did is we brought one of our new buckets. We put some water in it. So generally, like on a road trip, I would say having like a travel bag with you with your products, and then having a bucket. And when you leave your house, you can have the bucket empty, nothing in it.
Yeah.
We filled it up with some water before we came here. So like if you're in a hotel, usually they have a hose somewhere. They have access to a hose. Just fill it up before you go to the pay and spray. And whether it's the new bucket, which the lid will seal tight on it so it won't splash around in your car, or one of the old 5-gallon buckets, you can get the Gamma Seal, which same thing. It's going to prevent it from splashing. Having that is really important, especially like if you're coming to a pay and spray to wash, you know. And then Ken and I grabbed one of our trunk organizers. This is the V2 version 2 right here. And here you go, Ken, I'll let you open it. And I just grabbed a few different products in here, which I have wash pads, I have 2 borderless gray towels, and then we have everything from cleaning wheels and tires. We have some rubber mat and liner cleaner, bug remover, which is that's like one main product you need when you're doing this. Detail spray, H2O guard and gloss. I say guard and gloss because people think it's garden, like you have a garden. That's your garden gloss. We're not trying
flowers.
Yeah, we're not trying to make leaves shiny. You have some wash and wax, car soap, and some graphene tire dressing. So we'll use almost all of these. I'd probably say almost everything except one thing, which is something we use a lot, which is detail spray.
Yes.
But in this instance, we may not even need it while we're here. So we got this. Just set this aside. And we have wheel cleaning tools as well. I probably brought too many when you're on a road trip, you don't really need to bring like every tool, right? So with a truck, I think having a fender brush is pretty key. But if there's anything I would leave out of here, it would be these two brushes. This is a stiff bristle, like tire scrub brush, and then the trim and lug nut. Like, I like having this at home because you can spend more time with it. But here, I don't know. I mean, you don't have to really worry about your
process.
Yeah, it's like I would still use it. It's so small that it's fine, but I'll just set it aside. So really, just like 3 tools: your fender brush, especially on a truck because you can access the fender, a angled wheel brush. This is the small one, and then a wheel face brush. So start with that. Go ahead.
Chester wants to know if this lineup works for graphene advanced coating.
If this
car with a graphene advanced coating on it.
Oh yeah. That's a good question. So Chester, he just asked, like, is this stuff we're using okay if your car is ceramic coated or graphene ceramic coated? And the answer is yes. I mean, really, any of our products are fine for the graphene ceramic coating, but I mean, there aren't. I'll just say this: there is not a single chemical in our line that would degrade a ceramic coating. It's only going to help it. Even our strip wash. And strip wash is something I use on ceramic coated vehicles in the winter because, well, you don't have to deal with it. This guy lives in SoCal, so
not as much.
He doesn't have to deal with anything.
We did have a snowstorm a couple years ago.
You did?
Yeah.
That's like, well,
I got a video of it at our house.
Jeez.
My car had snow.
That's really cool. But yeah, like California, don't have to worry about it as much. Colorado, we get they when it snows, they spray stuff called magnesium chloride. It's like a form of salt, and if you've ever been here in the winter, you'll see like everybody's car from like halfway down is like pure chalk white because it's just salt all over their car. So strip wash does a great job for that. But yeah, no chemical in our line is going to degrade a coating.
My day driver goes up in the mountains by our house, and she gets, and my work truck gets it all over because it gets snow up by Big Bear.
Yeah, Big Bear. Yeah, that's a cool area.
Yeah.
So we'll start getting into this here in a second. The thing about doing your washing at a paint spray, it's almost like opposite. Like, you know this just as well as I do. It's like you start with your wheels and tires, then you move on to your engine, then you move on to everything else. But in this case, I don't know if someone's going to pull up behind me. So the main reason we're here is to get the paint clean, right?
Yeah.
Like the wheels are one thing, but everything else is like ideal, right? So what I like to do is I will actually start with, I'll get the car washed first, and then while it's washed, then I can move it, like while the soap is on the car, then I'll move into cleaning the wheels and tires and the engine. Because if the soap's on the car, it neutralizes the water, and then it's not going to get water spots. So the first, and also by doing that, it reduces the amount of time we use, so your bill doesn't skyrocket.
Exactly.
So, and the other thing we don't want to do is go swipe our card, spray it, turn it off, do something, swipe our card, spray it. Like, you don't want to be overly redundant. Like, my goal is to turn the water on twice, maybe 3 times, but twice is like ideal. So it's kind of like wash the whole car, then clean the wheels and tires and the engine. And then when you're done with that, then you just rinse everything off. Okay. So that's kind of where we're going to start. So first thing is getting the excess dirt and grime off of the car. And like, Chris could probably show you guys, but there's some like caked on dirt in the fender wells. So we'll focus on that and on the exhaust pipe. Any of that dirt and grime we can get off now is very beneficial. And that's also why we're here, right?
Exactly.
If we're doing waterless washing, it's really hard to clean this part, right? So in this kind of instance where, like, I'm not saying everyone did off-roading, but you really need to look at the condition of your car before you just start jumping into waterless wash, so because the whole point is, like I say, talking about phases and detailing, it's like getting it perfect in the beginning. That's like polishing and all that stuff. Then phase 2 is protecting it. Then phase 3 is like keeping it perfect.
Maintaining it.
Right? So doing waterless wash right now is not going to keep it perfect. So cleaning it first. So let me swipe this card, and we're going to just do high pressure rinse.
Okay.
Now, at Glacier Car and Dog Wash, you have a lot of options here. And, just to be able to control what we use, like we have a bug remover that we trust, and there's a certain process to it. Tire and engine cleaner, I think I'm more apt to using our tools. So we'll just start with number 6. And oh, we got up to $100. We're about to go crazy, Ken.
You can have a new truck.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so I'll just show you. This is something Adam taught me from the beginning. And actually, what I like to do is I'll just set this inside.
Okay.
While I don't want to get this like soaking wet because we have to put this back in the car anyways. And generally, I just leave it in the car and then I'll just hand pick what I need. Yeah. So the thing that Adam taught me when you're rinsing off a car is obviously you work kind of top to bottom, but you want to work in sections. So as far as you can reach pretty much. And the whole front of your car is exposed to the sun right now.
Yes.
So we want to start in the shade first, right? So I'll probably just start on this door and then I'll make my way around.
Circle around there.
And then once we make it around, then we'll get the suds in the bucket to then start washing the car. So, and then the other thing when you're at the paint spray, you can see like this hose is connected to a beam up there, right?
Yeah.
If I just kind of hold it like this and walk around, this thing's going to hit your car. It will scratch it. So what I do is I grab it with one hand, I step over it like this, and now as I'm walking, I always keep control with one hand so it never gets close to the car. So kind of like this. While we rinse the car off, you guys can ask as many questions as you want. We're just kind of hanging out today. You want to do it?
Sure.
Hey, here's the other thing. I got a helper today. So I can hang out and not do anything. You know? But yeah, if you guys have a question, this is a good time to ask right now. I'm just gonna.
Donald uses process.
Well, that's a good question. So Donald said he uses H2O garden gloss. He was curious what is a process to kind of he's saying like take it off and then put ceramic coating on. So what I would do, so H2O garden gloss is more of a sealant. So it's like a resin-based product, but it has like a touch of silica in it, which is like a form of ceramic that supports a ceramic coating. And the reason why it has in there is so you can put it onto a ceramic coated vehicle. But what I would do is first use strip wash, which is going to help break down the sealant portion of it. And then as it breaks down the sealant portion of it, then I would use a clay bar because you want to clay your car anyways before you ceramic coat it. And if you're going to do the 60 ml bottle of the advanced, I would recommend polishing it, at least like a one step. Like you want to get it as close to perfect as whatever you feel like you want to get it to. But if you don't feel like you need to polish it, the clay bar is enough, or clay mitt, and then you'll be ready to put the graphene ceramic coating on. And if that's the spray or whatever, it doesn't matter. But strip wash and clay bar, kind of the two things. So good. Okay, so Mr. Ken has his car rinsed off, and right now the water's still running. And I want to keep it running for just a second, and I'm going to take the wheel cleaning tools out of here because I have fresh water inside of this, and we'll reach into our trunk organizer V2, and I'm going to grab the soap we're using, so wash and wax, okay? And I do recommend wash and wax on a road trip. Can you try to tell me why I would recommend this?
One, it's got good lubricity,
Yep.
dual purpose.
Good lubricity, dual purpose. So Here's a little secret for everybody. Seeing agent for a ceramic coating.
Yes.
So when you're on a road trip, you want to be supporting whatever protection's on here already. I know you said you have somewhat of like a
dealer,
like a ceramic sealant that the dealer put on already. I'm completely fine with that. Like the water behavior is actually pretty good. There's no rush to like remove that right now. Okay, so what I want to do is support that. So like the water beating at every stop where you wash your car, because how easy is it to rinse when it's protected?
Much easier.
Yeah, you get more dirt and grime off. So I want to keep that going. So wash and wax is going to be the product for that. And actually in the thing, I got the wash pads as well. I have 2 wash pads, okay? Mainly so Ken can wash the car and I don't have to do anything. But and just so you guys know, like I would say like a 2-bucket wash is a good idea, but you're limited on space when you're traveling, right? So 1 bucket's fine. And I think the other thing to be realistic about is that when you're on a road trip, your car is going to be more exposed to dirt and grime, bug guts, all those things. And so being realistic that you're probably going to get damage during your road trip. So when you come back, there might be some things you need to fix anyways, but 1 bucket is going to be fine for a road trip. I still recommend 2 wash pads though, because you can kind of dedicate 1 for the top, 1 for the bottom. But I'll let you do this, but I'll do 1. So you put some of it onto the actual wash pad. Like that. Set this in here and then just give it like a nice squeeze into the bucket as well. A little bit more, maybe. There we go. Okay, so we got our wash pads and our bucket prepped. So, and then yeah, you can set that back in there. And then I'm gonna take the pressure washer gun and I'll get this in here. I'm gonna stick it just inside the water, pull the trigger. And activate my suds like that, okay? So now that I've activated the suds, my wash bucket's ready to go, now I can come over and press stop, because I don't need the water right now, okay? Now, before we start washing it, I'm actually gonna grab, I think it's this one, because he had a ton of bugs on his car. So the way you use this is you're gonna spray all the areas where the bug guts are at. So mainly just like the front of the car. You have to pump it a few, there you go. Yeah, just like that. So bug remover has like a specific surfactant that really like breaks down the organic material of dried on bug guts. Here's my problem, Ken. I use too much of the product. So there, I also do it here. I'll do it on the windshield, just a little bit. And then you'll get that mirror on that
You
side.
got it.
So bug remover doesn't need like too long of a time to dwell. And right now we're kind of like racing against the clock because the front end of your car just barely is in the sun. So we want to get suds and soap on here as fast as possible. Now, if you're using bug remover at home, you would rinse the car off, spray bug remover on, and then foam right over the top of it. And then just wash your car as normal. So now that you have the bug remover on, you're gonna take this, and what I'm doing right now is I'm starting here because I wanna neutralize the water. So to let the bug remover, yeah, I'm starting right where the sun is. And what I'm doing is I'm not hitting the area where the bug remover is quite yet. I'm still letting it kind of dwell. But I want to neutralize this water so I don't get hard water spots. And then I drop down and I start hitting the rest of the area in the sun and also where the bugs are. So just like this.
I think Joe, Dan's putting links to all the products in the comments as we're using.
Oh, well, first off, hi Dan. Want to say hi to Dan?
Hi, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so Dan just said he's putting links to all the products that we're using in the description or in like a pinned comment.
Well, in the comments as they happen, and then
Oh,
if you replay it, you'll be able to see the comments as
Okay,
it's
yeah, there you go. So he's putting it in the comments as they happen, and then if you watch this back, you'll see them kind of pop up. So just like that for now. Okay, I'm good. Now, this wash pad's like really dirty. You can actually see all the bug guts on there.
Yeah.
That's called road trip residue. So I'm actually going to set this aside for now. That is something that I'll mainly use like on the bottom portion of the car. But I'm going to let you take this one and just get it so it's not quite dripping. So again, like when we're rinsing, you want to wash, but do it as far as you can reach, like this, and then move on to the next section. And I would say for now, don't go below the belt line, essentially. And I wouldn't do circles, tend to do like from back,
straight lines.
and just use the weight of your hand.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to take this wash pad. I'm going to rub it against the grid guard. Yeah, so I have this, well, it's not quite a grit guard, but it's like a grate that goes in the bottom of the bucket. So I can rub my wash pad against this and it gets a lot of those bug guts off of the wash pad. And then I have a little bit more of a fresh wash pad as I go through, and I'll do probably more of the bottom section of the car with this wash pad.
Mr. C says that is a large car. Sorry.
Mr. C, yeah, well, you know what, Mr. C? When you do good deeds, you don't make no money. No, I don't. I could care less about the money part. I think it's just cool that Ken actually hit us up during the live one week. He's like, I'm going to be coming through. And so I was like, dude, you should come by and we could clean your car, or I could teach you whatever you want. So I'm really glad you came by, Ken.
Oh,
It's
my
been fun
pleasure.
hanging out, you know. Ken got the full Adams Polish's headquarters
VIP
tour. You got to see all the hand bottling, production, the crew working to fulfill orders. So it's been a good day. So I really like your truck.
Oh, thanks. I do too.
What was your main decision on getting a Tacoma?
We wanted a truck, and I always like Toyotas, and go far by like places by your brothers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just perfect truck for it.
Yeah. You have any plans on lifting it or anything like that?
Possibility.
Okay.
Definitely talked about it.
Just to give you more access to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you do a lot of off-road riding?
I haven't yet. This is the first 4x I've had, so
Oh, nice.
it's gonna be a learning process.
Antoine says, what was the secret of wash and wax again? It buffered right when you were mentioning it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the secret of wash and wax is it doesn't have any wax in it. And I'll be honest, I could not tell you why they named it wash and wax. I was not a part of that. But it has, the protection instead of wax is silica or SiO2, so it's kind of like a silica-based soap. And so it provides the protection, like the maintenance protection to a ceramic-coated vehicle, or even if it's not ceramic-coated, but it's going to add hydrophobic protection just while you're washing it, like what I'm doing right now. So it's very beneficial for that on a road trip because, you know, if your car is hydrophobic, it's a lot easier to rinse it off. So you get more dirt and grime off of the car before you even touch it with the wash pad or anything like that. So that's kind of the main reason I recommend wash and wax for a road trip. Now I will say, like, another good car soap to have on a road trip is graphene shampoo because, you know, if you get caught in like a rainstorm and you get a lot of road oil on the car, you want to get that off so the hydrophobic properties of the ceramic coating are still there. So I'd say like if you have your car graphene ceramic coated, whether it's a spray coating or the 60 ml bottle, graphene shampoo is something. We have extra spots in our thing. I would have that in there as well. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We're live right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Good to see you.
thanks for coming out.
Yeah, of course. I always come here for this because you guys are awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You guys have any events coming up?
No, we don't.
No. That's all right.
Nothing yet.
So this is Ken, and he's here on a road trip from California.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And so
How you doing?
we're talking about it on the live of like, sometimes your car gets like too dirty to the point of just wiping it down.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to a place like Glacier Car and Dog Wash is like the perfect place to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Really get it all clean and get the bug remover going, all the engine cleaner and all this stuff. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we provide all of that. So
Yeah, you guys do a great job.
we always tell people, you can't just always come through automatic. Occasionally, you're gonna have to clean it yourself,
Yeah.
especially if you have a lot of rain or even super lot of snow or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you guys are open year round, right?
Yep.
That's why we come here for winter washing, because it's the best place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think, Ken? Are we pretty much...
Looking pretty good.
So now the car is pretty much like it's neutralized, right? Like the soap's on the car. I'm not worried if the soap dries on the car because it's going to rinse off perfect. So what I will do is actually I set the wash pads aside like this,
Okay.
okay? And then I'm going to take my...
And just to make it clear, that's on the lid, not on the ground.
Yeah, that's on the lid, not on the ground. Sorry.
Just wanted
Definitely do that.
to make sure.
I mean, the other thing I would have done is maybe, if I had a second bucket, you could dump the water out and put it in that and then set it in the bed of your truck. But right now we don't. But when we're done, I can dump all the water out and then like put everything in there and then we'll be good.
Yeah.
But I just put like the wheel cleaning tools we're going to use into the sudsy bucket. Okay, so we haven't dumped the water out yet. So I'm going to take the bug remover. By the way,
Close it.
road trip tip. When you're done using a product, turn the thing so it says stop. Because if you don't do that and it gets hot in your car,
Start leaking.
yes. So make sure you put it on stop before you put it back in. So now, wheel and tire cleaning. Okay. So, see that? So now what we're going to do is we'll clean the wheels and tires. So, I gotta get this spray. By the way, if you're traveling with somebody, try to get them to help you, but you don't have to. So, you don't need a lot. We'll just spray a little bit of this on here.
Usually when he says you don't need a lot, he sprays like a gallon.
A gallon.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. You definitely need a lot.
Half the bottle.
Spray this on there, and then I'm actually gonna come over here, spray this one down really quick. So with road trip cleaning, like you're not doing this long, drawn out process of cleaning like in your driveway, right? Because
Yes.
you're out of pay and spray, so you don't have a ton of time. Because if someone pulls up behind you, you got to be respectful. So I'll spray both of them down, and that's why I'm getting them as clean as possible, but they don't have to be 100% perfect. So the reason why on your truck specifically I like the fender brush is that I can use this to scrub the tires. Like this. And then I can use it to scrub this boat too.
And did you spray that part with one?
I did spray the fender well with the wheel and tire cleaner. Like that. And then I have my angled wheel brush so we can clean behind the spokes and into the barrel. And I would say like this, this might be something that people are like, I don't know, why would you clean the barrel or clean the wheels? Well, road trip, you're driving so much. Here, do you want to do the back?
Sure.
On a road trip, you're driving so much that there's a lot of brake dust and dirt and grime on your wheels. And if you don't get that brake dust off, it can cake on because of the heat of the wheels being driven so much. So I highly recommend cleaning your wheels while you're doing this. Just like the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said before. Just like that. And then I'll head to the other side. I'm gonna meet Ken over there. You can get Ken clean in that one. Another thing I will say while you guys watch Ken clean that wheel is this wheel cleaning process you do not want to do if you've been driving all day and you pull straight into the wash bay. Like, I recommend getting to where you're going, getting settled in. Go ahead. Getting settled in, let your car cool down. And then after it's been cooled down, and like if you touch your wheels like this, especially the front, and they're cool to the touch, then go to the paint spray and clean it. But if your wheels are hot and your brake rotors are hot, your calipers are hot, you can stain them, you can warp them. It's just not the right time to do it. So I recommend, like Ken, he drove in from Utah last night. His car was able to sit in the parking lot all day, came to Adams Polishes, we hung out for a while. So like, it's totally safe to be doing this process right now. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to be cleaning hot wheels or hot brake calipers, hot brake rotors. Want them to be cool. All right, I'll let you hit that now, and I'll hit this with the wheel face. Man, it's way easier when someone helps you. You know, Ken, when I'm doing this at home, I usually have two helpers with me, my 11-year-old son and my 8-year-old daughter.
I wish I was that lucky.
And they always fight over who gets to do the foam cannon. Say that again, Chris?
Did you say why we're not using foam cannon to paint spray?
The reason why we're not using a foam cannon to paint spray is because I can't. And they have like, yeah, like, you know, you need to have like the quick disconnect from like your snub nose gun or like your pressure washer. They don't have that here, so I can't do that. And you could use like the pre-soak, but I also am just not sure. You know, I think a place like this is using pretty good stuff, but I want full control over the stuff I'm using. So, and listen, like, I think for me, I don't get much anxiety about it because when I first started Adams Polishes, there was no such thing as a foam gun or foam cannon. Like, it was rent your car and start washing it. So just one of the tips I kind of said in the beginning was like, I didn't start washing back here. I started washing where the car is in the sun. And because most of it's in the shade, I'm not too worried about it. So being very conscious of after you rinse it off and your bucket's ready for washing, start washing in the sun to neutralize the water so you don't get water spots, and then move on to washing the rest of the car. So now we have your wheels and tires and all the paint. I would say like we could do the engine, but like on a road trip, you're about to drive and it's gonna get just as dirty the next time. So I would save your engine cleaning part for when you get home. So like when you arrive home on like a Friday or Saturday, then do a full wash on your car on Sunday and do your engine with that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The only other thing I would say we probably should do is, we don't have to, but, and it doesn't look like you really need it, but I would end up cleaning the door jambs. Okay, so because they're not too dirty right now, I think it's okay. But so now at this point, this is the easy part. We engage the water again. Oh look, now we're down to $91. Uh-oh. We're screwed. So high pressure rinse again. Same thing, but here's the thing. Don't rinse the sunny part first. So just like we did in the beginning, like started on the door and then kind of like made our way around, because we don't want to get water spots. So the other thing I do want to say is what we're...
Do you want the high pressure rinse or do you want the spot free rinse?
So I want the high pressure rinse first, and this is a little tip I'm going to show you guys. So I will high pressure rinse first, and then I end up rinsing the hard water off with the low pressure spot free rinse. So it's kind of like seems redundant, but I just want the high pressure to get this, like the soap's dried on here. So I need something to really power through to get that off. Not to say that it wouldn't come off, it's just, it's a better use of the tool that they have here is to go high pressure rinse, then kind of rinse off the hard water with the low pressure spot free rinse. But the one thing I do want to do, which everything's pretty much prepped already, is I need to make sure that I'm ready to have my borderless gray towels and my H2O garden gloss. So I have this prepped and ready to go. And then again, I have like detail spray, rubber mat liner cleaner, which oh my gosh, I completely forgot about. Completely forgot about. So maybe before we do that, we'll just pull this out really quick because we don't want to forget that. So usually what I would do when we get out of the car, and this is really important because your floor mats will get very dirty on a road trip. So just pull these out. You want to grab the other one?
Yes, sir.
Dude, my new career in hand modeling.
Ooh. Thank you, Vanna.
There's one thing I know for sure, and that's Vanna White did not chew her nails like I do. That's why she worked there. I think this is okay for now, yeah. So another thing that you can do, I'll usually put these, and this is my fault for not doing this earlier, I'll set these like this. So now you can grab the pressure washer, and when you shoot it, it's going to go that way instead of onto your car. I don't know if Ken signed up to work during this, but there you go. I'll hold that. Spray that liberally on there. I'm just going to aim this away from you, Chris. Will you hold this actually?
Yeah.
And then you just scrub it with that. Same thing we use to scrub the tires and the fender wells. And rubber mat and liner cleaner is a pretty cool product. Like it has, I know we get fancy with saying words like surfactant, but it has a specific like cleaning agent to it that really makes like rubber and plastic more rich in color. It's a very good product to clean that stuff. Here you go. I'll just trade you. Then you just rinse them off. Here you go. Perfect. And then on this time, just don't pull the trigger. Just there you go. Kind of rinse it like that. There we go. And then I like to hang them up here. Do you know we actually sell these?
Oh, yeah. I see one.
Yeah, we sell the mat hangers on our website. Okay, so now that we didn't forget this, even though we kind of did, now we'll rinse the car. So look, you did it perfect. You learned something.
Can't teach an old dog.
So you can kind of notice, Chris got like right here, Chris, show right here, but all this soap is dry. You can tell that when he hits the, like right when the water hits it, it almost like rehydrates the soap and then it rinses perfect. You can like see it foam up and fall off the car, which is, that's one thing of having a high quality car soap. Doesn't matter if it's silica enhanced car soap or mega foam or car shampoo, it always rinses perfect even if it dries on your car. And that's like a pretty important aspect to having a good quality car soap. Because we actually get a lot of questions of, is your car soap, if it dries on my car, is it going to stain? And it won't. It rinses perfect every time. I don't know, that mist feels pretty good, Chris. If you guys have more questions, just throw them in the comments. We can answer them as we continue with this. Next up, for anybody watching, we're gonna do H2O Garden Gloss. So, well, I guess next up we'll rinse this hard water off with the low pressure spot free rinse, and then we'll do H2O Garden Gloss.
Justin says, what would you recommend for protecting the undercarriage?
Who said that?
Justin?
Justin?
Chester.
Oh, Chester, sorry. Sorry, Chester. Protecting the undercarriage. We don't really have like a true like undercarriage protectant. I think most of our stuff is for like fender wells. I actually like to spray the graphene ceramic spray coating into the fender wells to protect the plastic inside of there. Really, the reason why I do that, it makes it a lot easier to clean. But if you got a car on a lift or you laid down on a creeper, you could probably get away with using the spray coating. But like the underside of your car takes such a beating that I don't think it would last that long. So, I know there's other companies that sell a specific thing to that. So, all right, Ken. So you got the whole thing rinsed. Now we press number 9, and you'll see that will switch. Now what I like to do is I'll just aim it at the ground and pull it for like 10 seconds. I want the spot-free water to be coming out before I even like hit the car. So now start on the sun now. Like before we started rinsing in the shade, but we want to get the hard water off the part in the sun. So you go just the best you can. There's no real way to gauge this, but you just want to see the water kind of fall off the car. And then, yeah, there you go. And if you see any soap, you can try to get that off too.
Yeah, it collects.
It comes out of the... Well, I know you got like a magnet supercharger under here, I think like, another thing you could probably use for bug guts is like a clay bar, but I try to avoid using things that are like abrasive a bunch of times. So like bug remover to me is just a better option. And I mean, I already can see like all the bug guts are gone. So we did great. And I mean, getting into the H2O Garden Gloss, like even using that, we can wipe it down a little bit as well. Now, one of the main, like, obviously getting the hard water off the car is really important, but another thing too is by doing this, using the spot-free rinse at the end, I know here, which I'm going to show here in a second, they have a blower, but a lot of paint sprays don't have that. So what I want is spot-free rinse leaking out of my mirrors my lights, my badges. I don't want hard water leaking out of that. So that's why I take this step. Like I said, there's not really like, it's not like rinsing off soap where you can see it coming off. This, I'm just doing the best I can to really get like the hard water off of the car.
And the spot-free rinse at a spray and spray would be pretty equivalent to our deionizers, right?
It'd be very similar, yeah. Yeah, like Chris, you probably guys heard it, but Chris said it would be like equivalent to using like a deionizer, like at our shop or at your house, where it's filtered water, it takes the minerals out of it. Because they have, they have a whole, whether it's underneath or somewhere, they have like a filtration system that takes the minerals out of the water. So super important. Anytime you can use spot-free anything, it's a plus. Just there you go. So now we're done with the water. We high pressure rinse the soap off, rinse it with the spot-free water. Now, because Glacier Car and Dog Wash is awesome, they have number 10, which is called the air dry. This is about to get kind of loud. But there's the blower is up there. And this is the blower right here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. But because this doesn't have a super focused tip in the volume that our air cannon has, I'm just gonna blow certain things on the car. So door handles, mirrors, the front grille. Yeah, wheels. But I need to have water on this car. I don't want to do the whole thing because H2O guarding gloss requires water being on the car to use it. So I'm just gonna go like this. And I don't have to be perfect because there's spot-free water on here. It's just kind of a quick, get the water out. You don't really even need to do it. Got that? Oh, okay, yeah. Anton asked, what should the TDS meter be reading for the deionized? Right when you set it up, it will be 0. Well, it depends on the unit you get, but if you get the dual bed system, it will read like 2 or 3, which is fine. Really, it's like when you get above 50 is when you want to start reordering your replacement resin. So 50 or above. And I tend to say like right when I get to, you can go press stop. But right when you get to 50 is like kind of the trigger when you reorder the next one. Because by the time it comes in, it will be above 50. And you can start getting some spots, I guess.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With the coating that's on it, would you recommend doing a clay bar and then put an advanced coating on it?
I would.
This current coating?
I would probably start with strip wash because it's more of a spray sealant, so that would
Yeah.
remove most of it without abrading it. I'll hold that. So I would do strip wash first, and then depending on how it feels, then if it feels a little bumpy,
Clay.
then I would do the clay. But I'd only do the clay if it felt a little
Yeah.
bumpy. But the clay does an okay job at removing like sealant or wax, but it's not as powerful as not powerful, but not as effective as strip wash.
Yeah.
Now I completely forgot something, so I gotta run this one more time. And
While you do that, I'm going to talk into your mic. Patrick couldn't hear you over the blower. That was 50.50 on the TDS meter.
yeah,
not
50
1.5.
like 50.50. Once your resin or once your TDS meter starts reading that. Now the reason why I had to turn that back on is because when you use H2O garden gloss, you need one of the towels to be damp or wet. So I forgot to spray water. And that's usually what I would have done before I moved on to the blower. So you just get that, I can just press it on. And then you wring this out.
So,
So
you want wet but not dripping?
damp. So like, yeah, I mean, it's I just wrung it out completely. So let me see that. So H2O garden gloss. I'm gonna start in the sun first, and I'm just gonna spray it onto this towel for now. So like 4 sprays, and wipe this on like so. And then Ken has a dry towel, and I'm using the water on the car to help dilute the product and let it spread out. So I'm essentially, with H2O garden gloss, I'm drying and protecting it all at the same time. So everywhere that I just went over, Ken, you wipe with the dry towel.
Can you use this on a car that's been ceramic coated?
Can you use this on a car that's been ceramic coated? The answer is yes, and it's a great idea to do. And the H2O garden gloss is more of a sealant-based product, but it has silica or SiO2, so it ends up really help supporting a ceramic coated vehicle. And you can go straight over the plastic, which is the main reason why I ended up grabbing this instead of the CS3. Obviously, a CS3 you can go over the plastic as well, but this just enhances the plastic. So when the car's wet like this, you take the H2O garden gloss and you spray it directly onto the car like that. And then you just spread it out like that. And then go over it with the dry towel and even it out like that. Do it on the windshield.
I don't think I shut my window all the way.
Your door was open when you started rinsing it off.
Yeah, we got a comment, but it didn't come in until after you'd already shut
I
it.
saw it during the process and I was like, oh.
Somebody was like, the driving store is open.
And then what happens with the damp towel is it starts to get saturated with water. So just occasionally you're gonna wring it out again. Because the water you're drying with is it saturates the towel. Whoa.
sound effects too.
Oh, I'm just getting old.
How long does H2O last?
H2O is more calculated in months. So I'd probably give it, I don't know, like 4 to 6 months probably. But it's one of those things that's like really easy to do. So I generally say like if H2O Garden Gloss is the only protection you're using, you could use it like every 4th wash to do this process, and your car will always be protected. I will say like the one thing I like about H2O Garden Gloss is it's a pretty like thick protection agent as it goes on your car, and like once Chris stands here and aims it at the car, you can see it almost gives like this enhancement of gloss that's like really good. So it just kind of hydrates the paint. Not that that's like a thing.
Makes it glossy.
Makes it glossy, but it like almost gives like it's almost like a gloss that you could bite into. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Like a depth.
yeah, it gives it like a depth and a.
How many towels will you need for the whole car?
Just these two right here. And I mainly like focus on the paint right now. And then I'll move into, because the paint's the part that's would get streaky, like if Ken's towel gets loaded up too much. Whereas like the plastic and stuff isn't gonna appear like as streaky. And so,
Glass, where in the order should you?
yeah, in the glass. I mean, you can start with the glass first, but because like the thing I'm doing right now, which is applying the H2O Garden Gloss, but I'm also like removing a lot of the water, it doesn't load the dry towel up as much. Like you can see like, right, can you see that, Ken? Like right when you wipe it, it like goes perfect essentially.
Yeah.
It's like not streaky, you know, so.
Phil wants to know if there's an ideal dwell time.
Ideal dwell time for H2O Garden Gloss? Nope, it's just you spray it on like I just did. So it'd be kind of like this, like spray it on, and then this towel's already loaded with H2O Garden Gloss, but normally you would spray it in there and then just go over the surface like this. And then as soon as you did that, then you just take the dry towel and go over it. Pretty simple process, you know? So now that like, well, we have to get the top, but we'll do the top like so. And you can just step on the steps. We'll go like this.
For those of us vertically challenged.
Yeah, no, exactly. The other side. There you go.
It's actually something I don't know. Is there a process where you can use this if the car's already dry?
Yeah, there is a process you can do if the car's already dry. And it's as simple as getting the first towel wet. And I would say, like, you get the first towel wet, but you also, I like to have like a clean bucket or water with a bucket with clean water in it. So I have the ability to dunk my towel in. But if the car was already dry, you get this wet, wring it out, and then you spray the product onto the wet towel, apply it to sections of the car, and then use the dry towel to even it off. And then what I'll do is wring this out. I'll dunk it in the fresh water after maybe 4 sections. Just because what's going to happen, like when we do it like this, because you can see there's still a lot of water like on this tonneau cover, is every time when there's water on the car, every time I wipe this, there's water that goes into the towel. So the towel never gets dry. But when you're doing it on a dry car, the towel will start to dry out because you're not putting any water into it. And so having a bucket of clean water allows you to keep your towel damp the whole time you're doing this. I could even, if people are interested in that, I could even like do a H2O Garden Gloss feature one day that's just talking about the different application methods. And oh my gosh, Ken, I forgot the back glass here. What an amateur.
Katrina says, will Adam's rubber cleaner remove wax residue off the bed of a trim of a Tacoma? Or what's your suggestion? I tried Dawn and a toothbrush, which normally works. That bed trim is a different plastic.
Yeah, Adam's Polish's tire and rubber cleaner is the product you want to use for that. And you might have to step up there.
Yeah.
But Adam's Polish's tire and rubber cleaner, and an edgeless utility towel, which is technically like our interior towel. But the reason why you want to use that towel is because it won't lint when you're scrubbing it. It's like more of a scrubbing type of towel. So yeah, tire and rubber cleaner, that's like the best product to use. And you don't really have to spray it directly onto the surface you're working on. You can spray it like into the towel and then scrub with it. Is the best way to do that. So just like kind of the last little bit. The other thing I like about H2O Garden Gloss, the fact that it's kind of a little bit more thick, is that it actually enhances the plastic. So that was one of the big reasons why I ended up grabbing this product when Ken and I were in the showroom, because I want to like make the plastic, it almost like dresses it to like a certain extent. Like just enhances the appearance of it. Not only does it do it to the paint, but also plastic and rubber and all that.
And by enhanced, you mean like darken the plastic?
Yeah, like adds a richness and color to the plastic. So then, once I'm done with that, I'll just spray a little bit more in here. Do you want to do this part? Yep,
Rails?
do the rails, and then after you're done doing those, then you'll do the wheels.
Okay.
Looking pretty good, Ken.
Not bad, not bad. I'm liking it.
Well, now you get to drive to Utah and do it all
Redirty
over
it.
again. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Talk about the detail spray here in a second. So there's pretty much like two last things that I like to do. I'm going to grab that dry towel from Ken in a second.
Okay, I'll get the front.
Ken works way harder than I do. It's kind of refreshing.
Not a high bar.
Oh, you're right, Chris. Definitely not a high bar, man. I always say this. I'm like, when I get home on the weekend, I go to clean my car. And granted, I love the process and love doing it, but I'm like, man, I've been cleaning everyone else's car all week. Which one's the dry one? This one. Okay, so semi-dry. But usually what I'll do is I have my detail spray, and that's mainly why I brought it. But probably what I would recommend is grabbing if you could bring a third towel, but just detail spray, a couple sprays onto the glass and just wiping this down. And we kind of have to do this because we accidentally blasted this anyways. But just clean the interior glass, like on maybe not the windshield, save Brilliant Glaze for that, or have a fresh towel to do that. But I'll just go through and, really like one spray. Like so. Go to the next. This came out really good.
Yeah, it did. Looks really sharp.
The thing about glass is less is more. Like, the less product you spray onto it, the better, because it just kind of lets it all work. And then usually what I'll do, I'll keep the detail spray with me, and then like you can see, like, we have some of that water coming out. I'll just give it one quick spray and just kind of do like a quick touch up on everything just to make sure. And I mean, I think with H2O Garden Gloss, I know for sure I do. Sometimes I'm like leaning up against the car, so get some of my like. I'm an oily individual anyways. And so I'll just give it like a quick once over just to check. Like that. And then there's only one more thing to do. And actually, the last thing I'll just show you guys really quick. And just so you guys know, again, I'm turning this to stop every time I'm done using it. So the sprayer will be on spray, and then I switch it to stop so it doesn't leak in a hot car. But the very last thing I'll end up doing, and I generally save this, so this is like a tip for you, Ken, is like after you've done all of this here at the paint spray, I will drive back to where I'm staying or wherever you're going and then put tire dressing on. Because doing it here, you can kind of see, it's not too bad actually, but water will like hang out in all of these areas. And when you drive, it's going to get rid of all that water. But just for the sake of doing this here, especially on your KO2s. Is that, yeah, you got the KO2s on here.
Which dressing?
I'm using the graphene tire dressing. So, spray this. Oh, I probably need to turn it to spray. Spray it into the tread block like this. Spray it into the applicator. Then always squeeze the applicator like this to even it out. And then I'll start on the kind of flat side like this. And then work my way up to the tread. And I'll even like brush it in a little bit with the corner. Then go over kind of the inside. So by spraying it into the tread, it evens it out in the heavy, especially like on Ken's truck. There's just big knobby tires. But also spraying it into the tread, you avoid getting it onto the wheel you already just wiped down, you know? And if you need a little more, you just spray it into the...
Buckeyes, maybe?
Okay.
So, why not finish with undercarriage spray on the wheel well?
You know, undercarriage spray I would probably do. It just, I think for me, on a road trip, like, it's just like another product you need to bring with you. And I think with like the work we did today, you could ask Ken, but it feels like quite a bit, like we've done enough. You know, I think like undercarriage spray is a product intended for like the extra mile detail. But that's just kind of my opinion. You know, I think it's a great option. I think for me, it's like, I'm only trying to bring the core products I need for washing, not like doing all this other crazy stuff. You know what I mean? So, you want to do this one?
Sure.
Just gonna get kind of in there. These tires seem a little bit more new, so just kind of drinking it up.
Yeah, I noticed that when I've been doing it. Takes a little extra.
Yeah. There we go. All right. One more wheel left, and then we're pretty much good to go. Okay. Then, of course, you know, before we finally drive away, we'll just, you know, pull it up. Yeah, just go ahead and say it. He knows just as well as I do.
Pull it up a couple feet.
Yep. And expose this bottom area to the top, so then you can dress that portion as well.
Agent 47 says, why spend all this time on it for it to get 30 on the first try?
I don't know. You tell him, Ken.
It'll look It'll look clean the first few miles.
There's 3 words, or 3 letters, sorry. OCD. It's like,
Well, and with the garden gloss, it'll be easier to clean after.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that's part of like, I think like once you're in the routine of cleaning your car, like Ken was telling me, he cleans it pretty much like once a week, right? Maybe 2 times. So when you're in the routine of keeping it clean and it's looking like this 90% of the time, it's just like, you want to keep it looking like that, and then leaving bug guts on your car for an extended period of time is not good for your paint, so like getting it all square, at every stop you're going to is just, I'm not going to say it's very important. I also think like if you're the kind of person that doesn't care, don't wash your car. I'm not here to like preach anything on anybody. I just, I think, I know
It
like,
says I can not leave my house with a nasty ride.
yeah, but like I know my dad, like he cleans his car at every stop. It's just, I think there's somewhat of a standard that people like hold that they want their car clean. Doesn't matter what city or state they're in, So this is just like what we went through today is just kind of the process and products that you kind of need to do this in depth of a wash when you're like on a road trip. You don't have a home base, you don't have a driveway, you don't have access to a pressure washer other than going to a pay and spray. So, I think it's, I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
Less clean if I get home too.
Yeah, less cleaning when you get home. What do you think? Does that feel like a good process?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it worked and got the job done. It's good
Yeah.
to go around town and go home.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have probably the cleanest Tacoma in Denver tonight. What do you think? I mean, do you think doing the washing process like this here, do you think it's like feasible? Is it?
Oh, yeah, don't need that many products. It's an hour or so out of your day at most.
Yeah.
You can still go out and have fun and travel.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
Nano wants to know when we'll be live again.
who?
Nano.
Nano coding. There we go. We'll be live every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So we do this every Wednesday. Ken joins most of the time. So next week when we're live, you have to say hi to Ken
Just
again.
Usually in the comments, not in person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So what would that be? That's noon your time?
Yeah, 12 o'clock.
Noon. And then 2 in Central Time and 3 on the East Coast. So, and then I think, what is it, 4 a.m. in the Philippines for Anton?
Yeah.
Or 5 a.m.? I can't remember. Yeah. And Crystal Cars is on here sometimes. They're in the UK. So, I think.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Anton says, is garden gloss okay to use when doing a hoseless wash?
Oh, yeah, actually you can. Anton asked, can you do a H2O garden gloss after you do a hoseless wash? Yes, you can. You just have to do more of the dry car application, which I kind of touched on earlier, but I think that's kind of an interesting process. So I'll probably in the next couple weeks, if not next week, do a feature on H2O garden gloss and like the different ways you can use it. It's mainly 2 ways. What we did today, which is application on a wet car, and then next week I can do like application on a dry car. But yeah, H2O garden gloss is pretty. We came out with it in 2015, and it sort of sparked the interest of a lot of people because it combined 2 steps in the process of drying your car and protecting it all at the same time. And then obviously, like as our product line grows, there's other things you can do like CS3 or graphene CS3, but H2O garden gloss is still something I use quite a bit because I just like the effect it gives. Like it gives it a shine that is, I don't know, it just feels like there's something there. I really like the effect that it offers. And I like the aspect that it combines 2 things into one. So H2O garden gloss is a very unique product, but there is some confusion about it. I think some people, I've even heard like people on a dry car spray it on and try to wipe it off like detail spray, and it just, you really need the water in the towel to dilute the product so it goes on more even, and then your dry wipe comes off much better. So Pretty unique product, but.
Can you use it if you've used the graphene 60 mil coatings?
Can you use it if you use a graphene 60 mil coating? Yes, you can. It has SiO2 in its silica, which is like the same enhancement or protection product that's in CS3 or even like graphene detail spray. It just doesn't have the added graphene to it. So, so yeah, you can use it on a ceramic coated vehicle, whether it's graphene or not, and the silica will bond to the ceramic coating and allow it to do its thing. And it is kind of one of my go-to like maintenance products, even though it's not a graphene. Like graphene boost is the best thing you could do to boost a vehicle, but it's a pretty like in-depth process. Where H2O garden gloss, you could see us. It's just like you kind of not careless, but like you can be a little bit more efficient with it because with graphene boost, it streaks really easy. So like doing it outside isn't ideal, whereas H2O garden gloss is fine to do outside. So I actually use it. I don't know, I'd probably say like every 3 or 4 months when I want to do just like a quick maintenance on my ceramic coated vehicle. So,
does the detail spray help with water spots? For example, driving around and the car got hit by a sprinkler and you don't have time to wash.
Detail spray will not help with water spots. It doesn't add any protection, but it is.
If you hit them, like if you just got the spots. You can
Yeah,
get off of them.
that is a good point, Chris. Yeah, so water spots. The thing about water spots is they progress in phases. So like if you catch it soon enough, you can use detail spray just to wipe them off because it's like dried minerals on your car. But if you let it go for too long, it actually turns into scale, in which you can't just wipe them off. They're like, the minerals are like bonding together and it's starting to bond to your paint. So you need like a clay bar or like a water spot remover at that point. If you let them go even further, the minerals become acidic because they react with the UV, and then it starts etching into your paint. And then at that point, you need to polish your car with a machine. So yeah, like if you're, like this person asked, like if you're driving and you get hit with sprinklers, and like as soon as you get home, you put breakout detail spray with a plush towel, you can get them off pretty quickly. But I guess the way I took it was like, if you put detail spray on your car, does it prevent from getting water spots? And it doesn't. It doesn't. There isn't really any, like even a ceramic coated vehicle can, water spots will bond to the car. So yeah. Good? All right. How do you feel?
Good.
You ready to get out of here because you're sick and tired of being around me?
Oh, heck, I'm having a good time.
All right. Well, that's good. That's good. He's going to a Rockies game tonight. So if anybody else is at a Rockies game.
Now, she might be ready to shop or eat, but.
Yeah, there you go. I'm ready to eat. But yeah, if you guys are at the Rockies game, say hi to Ken. He's going to be, I think he'll go to the Sandlot Brewery to grab some barbecue.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope today was helpful. I know it's kind of a unique
for me.
topic, but you know, I think like the thing for you is, let's say you take off tomorrow night or tomorrow morning and you drive to Utah and it's not as dirty as it is, you can get away with waterless wash. Pretty easy, you know, like waterless wash is pretty simple, and then finishing it up with detail spray is more than enough because you did a lot of the work today already, you know. So, but then also like once you get home, depending on how dirty it is, you might have to do the washing process again, you know. So, but your truck looks great.
Oh,
I mean,
thanks.
I think the paint looks great, and you know, I'm really happy with it. Just responded pretty well, so
Yeah.
I love that. And you blasted the inside, and we cleaned that up.
Got some windows.
Anyways, thanks for watching. Next week, Wednesday, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, we'll be doing topics different every week. So if there's something specific you want to see, like this dry application of H2O Garden Gloss or something else, put it in the comments. And even beyond that, once Chris ends this live, it becomes a YouTube video on our YouTube channel. So you can always comment separately on there as well. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next week.